Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Purple Sector F1 Racing League. If you guys will give me a super quick second, I want to make sure I sound good on the stream. It's been a little bit since I have set up the streaming kit here. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I think I had my fan getting picked up in the background there. I should have fixed that by now, but we'll get rolling. Also, I do want to give a small little heads up. I am a tad bit sick, so I do just apologize. First and foremost, oh my goodness. I do apologize first and foremost if I sound a little off or if I have to take a few coughing breaks. I have been trying to fight it off. It was at a horrible time, obviously. It started right as New Year's rolled around, so that was a wonderful start to my new year. But I hope everybody here had a much better time than me. On that note, I wish everybody a happy new year and a merry late Christmas. I hope everybody had a phenomenal time. Oof. Excuse me, guys. That sounded a little nasty. I swear I'm doing okay. I don't feel bad. I kind of have some lung issues as well. So whenever I get sick and it flares up my lungs, it kind of like rolls down this avalanche effect. It's a little tough, but nothing not doable. But here we are currently looking at our wonderful calendar. So as you guys can see, we just came off of winter break and are looking at the final stretch of time here before the end of season 3. Oh, season 13. I said season 3. Season 13 of Purple Sector F1's league here. Belgium is a phenomenal track to come back to. I'm very, very excited for the race. Belgium's one of my personal favorite tracks. It's, I think, I've yet to meet one person who doesn't like Belgium, which is, I think, very valid if you were to ask me. There's almost everything I like about this track. It has a super high confidence section. It has wonderful medium speed corners, fun overtaking opportunities, and it's great in almost every division that you see it in. I'm quite excited for Brazil as well after that. That'll be next week, guys. Excuse me. And Brazil's another personal favorite. Once again, Brazil in general is, I think, one of those tracks that nearly everybody likes. So I'm excited to see everybody race there as well. More overtaking opportunities on that one, and I think in Belgium, obviously the high rainy conditions in Brazil make it quite fun. And then after Brazil, we have a break before we move into Suzuka and Qatar, and then we'll be finishing off with our championship sprint series as well. But I do apologize once again if I'm a little out of it. The 2 weeks were quite hectic for me. I feel like I'm a little out of commentator mode right now. But moving on, I would like to show everybody the Constructors' Championship after our wonderful Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. That was a phenomenal race. A lot of great racing. We had a wonderful literal last turn moment with a few of our drivers that was really, really fun to watch, and I hope those guys had fun, and I hope we get to see something like that here in Spa again. But as you guys can see, Ferrari is currently leading the championship comfortably by 20 points here. Or, well, that's not too comfortable, I guess, actually. That could be the difference between 2 DNFs and just one person getting on the podium. But Ferrari has had a very strong lineup. A very strong lineup of drivers, which I'll also be getting into here shortly. Reimer has done a phenomenal job for the Ferrari team. and has consistently scored first place podiums as well as just relevant point finishes. That has just allowed the Ferrari construction team to dominate here so far. They actually had a very slow start at the start of the season with just the 34 points, which isn't that bad. They started third immediately, but then obviously completely missed out in Mexico, and then an unfortunate China GP show out. But nonetheless, they've shown consistency in the races that they do fully participate and do well in. Following is Alpine, who is currently being led by Rebel as the primary driver there. An uphill battle for Rebel as his partner unfortunately left the league. That was 7. Just wasn't able to race anymore. And since then, Rebel has done a phenomenal job. He had a fantastic race in Las Vegas, one that I highly encourage everybody to go and check out. It was an incredible race. He spun out very early into the race and managed to bring it back to a first place podium. We also had a near podium for the Haas team. That would have been awesome, but nonetheless, it was a fantastic GP that I encourage you guys to go check out on our YouTube channel. I apologize. I will be muting again here. I need to get myself a little Hall's candy here. I'll try not to cough too much. It's a little hard to do though. I'm hoping that maybe the adrenaline and the talking here in today's race will keep me in check. Following the Alpine team is VCarb. VCarb has had a very strong team between MSA Samad and JM624. Both of these guys have pretty much consistently shown up to every race except for Coda, and they've scored very well in almost every race as well. MSA Samad actually is currently the leading drivers champion. Once again, I'll be getting into that shortly. Unfortunately, a very big upset, though, with Mercedes. This is now a 48-point difference between Mercedes and Ferrari. The other two teams are still kind of close enough where podiums do make that difference. Mercedes, unfortunately, has had 2 no-shows fully, or at least 2 no-point finishes. This has been a pretty drastic change. They were doing incredibly well. Their lead driver in Mercedes, Mahmudev, is a fantastic driver. And unfortunately, he just missed one race because he slept in. And then unfortunately, just wasn't able to make the next 2, I believe. Same thing with his teammate. Unfortunately, just DNFs, I believe, or at least non-point finishes. And unfortunately, that's just really, really knocked Mercedes down from a solid Constructors' Championship contention. But, you know, we've seen Ferrari come back. VCarb missed a race, and they're still in strong contention. So we'll have to see how these guys are able to bring it back. Mudev is one of our, more strategically minded drivers, as I always refer to him as. So I believe he is the man with the strategy to figure out what to do and how to bring it all back. Following that, we have a comfortable, middleman here with the Williams team. Still kind of close and is now in a fight with Mercedes after Mercedes fell off from the top 3 fight here. Williams is currently being led by Prosk as the primary driver. Unfortunately, I don't believe Prosk will be joining us here today, which is very unfortunate, but Mini B-Man, I believe, will be racing with Williams, and he's had very strong showouts from what we've seen. One of our D2 drivers, I believe. I do apologize to Mini B-Man if you're not a D2 driver. I can't seem to remember very strongly right now. 2 weeks seems to do that to me for some reason. But no, Mini B-Man has been a very strong driver. We have seen him race with us before, and he may be a good opportunity for Williams to score some points and maybe overtake Mercedes here in the Constructors' Championship. Following that, we have not the best of the rest. That's not what I meant to say. We have Red Bull here, who has, ironically enough, in my opinion, had some of the more consistent drivers, but are 6th in the Constructors' Championship. Mac and Despy on the Red Bull team are both drivers that I would say are sometimes one's better than the other one, depending on the day of the track, but depending on the track, But we've seen incredible showouts from the Red Bull team here. I haven't actually looked at the constructors, obviously, since the winter break here, and I'm a little surprised to see them so low. Very strong, consistent point scorers, fantastic racecraft between both of these two drivers. Unfortunately, I don't believe either of them will be joining us here today, so that's going to be a pretty big blow for the Red Bull team here. But nonetheless, I highly encourage you guys to go back and to our YouTube channel. There are some strong highlights with both of those drivers on some of our tracks. Very, very entertaining. Following that is Haas here, who's been led by Foko Enna primarily. They will be having a reserve driver of David Shahud joining. And Foko Enna, we saw a fantastic drive from Foko Enna in Las Vegas, nearly scoring a podium, but unfortunately, some stewards' decisions / reviews knocked him out of the podium into 4th position. But nonetheless, a fantastic drive, and a drive that Foko Enna has been attempting to chase since. So here's to seeing him on the podium again. Very excited for the Haas team. Following is McLaren and Aston Martin here. Both of these teams we've seen some very strong driving from. IUF1 William, who is a reserve driver, I believe. I don't believe he's a full-time driver for any one team yet. We've seen some great driving with him in Mexico. I remember very fondly Mexico. Very aggressive driver, very fun to watch. GDB0791 as well is another Aston Martin driver that is fantastic to watch. Very quick, very strong racecraft, very aggressive. It always makes it quite entertaining to watch these guys race. McLaren has Gunner 8077 and Money. Excuse me. Both of these guys we've seen some very strong driving from. I believe that in Saudi Arabia, it was Money who had quite a strong show and actually managed to net some very strong points for the team here. And McLaren's going to be trying to claw their way back up into 7th position here to beat the best of the rest, or to be the best of the rest. And there's still season to go, so maybe, just maybe, McLaren's able to get back up into a comfortable 6th and maybe even 5th position. But I won't speculate too much on that one. Moving on, here's our excuse me, guys. Oh, my goodness. Here's our driver's standings here. Let me make sure this looks well on stream, as it does look a little weird on my OBS. Our drivers are still currently loading in, so we're not missing out on any action yet, guys. Do not worry. Oh, shoot. Give me a quick second. I want to make sure I show the proper respect to the drivers here. Show the proper points. And awesome. That looks so much better on the stream than it looks for me here. So as you guys can see here, MSA Samada, the VCARB driver, is currently leading the Drivers' Championship by just 9 points. But we've seen a fantastic, absolutely fantastic return drive from Rebel. I believe Rebel earlier in the season was 6th to 4th place, I believe, if I'm remembering properly. And since then, he's really stepped it into gear and is really giving MSA Samada a run for his money. We're going to have to see how both of these drivers react to one another while they're racing today here. But nonetheless, following these guys is Reimer, another strong driver. We've seen some very impressive drives with Reimer in all the races that he got a podium in. 57 points away, unfortunately, from Samad, whereas Rebel is in only 9 points away. Samad and Rebel seem to be very comfortably running away right now with the driver championship contention. But nonetheless, I believe Reimer and Mudev right below him are the guys to bring it back. We're going to have to see if anything maybe happens, anything super spicy occurs during our upcoming races. And if, excuse me, and if we see, maybe we see a little upset in the top spot here. Following that, Prosk, Mac, Fogoena, William Despy, Money, and Money finish out our top 10 drivers here. All of these guys have been absolutely fantastic. I am a personal Haas fan, so I love seeing Fogoena in the top 10, really representing our Haas mainland here. Very excited to see Cadillac in 2026, so I'm not too sure about you guys. But moving on here, let's talk a little bit about the track. So, as I had mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, we are racing in the Belgian GP circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps. This is one of, if not the most popular track on the F1 calendar. If not, it's one of the funniest to race as a driver myself. So this track is located in Stavelot, Belgium, and it was made in 1921. It was revised over the years, and it is now what you see here today. It was originally designed by Jules de Thier, but was revised by our wonderful and well-known Herman Tilke and the FIA. There were some major safety concerns with the original Spa track, and obviously has since then seen some updates appropriately. If you're new here today, though, do drop something in the chat. I recently got introduced to Stream Element overlays, and I believe I have the chat overlay active here, so I would love to get a little test here. If anybody would like to say hi, if you're a first-time viewer, welcome to Purple Sector F1. We're currently waiting for our drivers to load in here at the moment, so we will be racing shortly. But as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, about the track, this is a 7-kilometer track or 4.4 miles. It's a pretty long track all in all, and it has the greatest elevation change out of any track. It has a 100 meter or 330 feet elevation change, and that all happens there in Eau Rouge instantly. It happens. It's such a neck jar, even if you're not actually in the car physically. Sim racing, it's just such a place of high confidence that you need to have high confidence, or you're going to lose control of the car in any sport, even in F1, where these cars are designed to be glued to the ground. It's pretty crazy. But to go through our track here, starting off at the finish line, we immediately go into a very tight hairpin here, turn 1 called La Source, where we take a nice long little, not 100% a straight, but we take a very nice little long route here up until the Redillion Eau Rouge here, turns 2, 3, and 4. This is probably the most common and well-known part of this track, and it's definitely a blast. This is easily probably the most dramatic part of the track. It requires the most confidence as a driver, and man, when you see overtakes in this portion of the track, it is something. It's just, it's so beautiful to watch overtakes on Eau Rouge. I've done overtakes on Eau Rouge, and it's some of the best overtakes I've ever had in my sim racing career. I mean, just a beautiful place to do it. Following Eau Rouge, though, we hit one of the longest straights here of the F1 calendar. We hit the Kemmel Straight, where our first DRS zone, drag reduction system, happens. Now, this lowers the it lowers the aerodynamic effect on the car, makes it a little more streamlined, and gives ultimately a higher speed for the car that has DRS active. And that leads into Lacombes, or turns 5, 6, and 7. Now, this is a fun little right-left-hander into another right-hander. Honestly, I think the ideal line is you enter on the right side, because then you'll have the right side onto turn 7. So you're in on turn 5, you're on the outside on turn 6, and you're back on the inside on turn 7. But I feel like Lacombes, out of many places in F1, was one of those that it's still kind of a bit of a toss-up. If the individual who is on the outside of turn 5 gets a very strong run into turn 6, they could hold the position going into turn 7. It's pretty fantastic to think about. It's very interesting to watch. Moving on, though, we have a wonderful little spoon turn 8 Bruxelles. Another nice fun little overtaking area before it leads into a very sharp 90-degree left-hander, turn 9, before we go into this very wide sweeping left-hander once again, the Pohun. Before we move into something very similar to Lacombes, this one's called Campus. Instead of 3 turns, it's just 2, but it pretty much follows the same philosophy. Honestly, momentum is, I think, a bigger factor in turns 12 and 13 than positioning. Obviously, if you're on the inside, it'll benefit you at least more initially. I think the outside position's most ideal, just because you'll have the inside line on turn 13. But following that, we go into turn 14, Stavelot, excuse me, I said that kind of weird. And that one's an interesting turn. It's a little rough, and I say that because if you enter Stavelot wrong, you're gonna hit the gravel trap here, and you're gonna get slowed down an ungodly amount, obviously. Moving into turn 15, it's a nice little right-hander before we hit a very, very quick left-hander here, turn 16, 17 at Blanchamont, and then we hit the very famous bus stop chicane. We'll be seeing a lot of overtaking in the bus stop chicane. I promise you that. And then after you come out of the bus stop chicane, your start and stop line. But, ladies and gentlemen, our drivers are finally hitting their qualifying, so we'll be moving over to the F1 game here, and I will change the transition here and turn the audio on so you guys can hear some wonderful F1 noises here. If you guys are new here, do drop a chat. I absolutely love talking to you guys. Give me a quick second. That's not working for some reason. There we go. So, our first driver out of the pit lane here, Gunnar AD77 in the McLaren. I had brought him up a little bit before, but he is a very consistent driver. Some unfortunate scenarios with Gunnar have occurred, just a little bit of bumping, but we'll have to see how he goes here. And he touches a little bit of the gravel trap coming out of turn 7 there, hitting turn 8 now. This is the Braxton Melot, I believe. Sorry if I mispronounced the names here. Hitting turn 9 now, very odd little left-hander. And then coming up on the Pohun, which is a fun, very wide-swinging left-hander here. I do apologize. I, for some reason, seem to be missing my... I can't see the chat for some reason on my end, guys. I do apologize. I do like talking to you guys as much as possible, so it's a little sad that I can't seem to find that here. I will go back here. You know what? This is how we're going to do this. Boom. I am the best commentator ever. Trust me, guys. And now this is the bus stop here. We're going to be jumping on to the car. We're going to be removing here the view as we now watch our very first lap here on Spa Season 13 of Purple Sector F1. Bit of a deep dive into turn 1. Some strong lockup there. A little cloudy today here. We're now watching the Eau Rouge here. As you guys can see, it's a very funky little left-right hander. It had the full 100-meter elevation change is pretty much all right there. And then you very gradually come back down as you go back to the finish line. A very strong lockup going into turn 5. We see a good swing into turn 6, hitting turn 7 now. Very, very strong. We now see his partner Money move out of the way there. Bit of a lockup going into turn 8 here. Nice little spoon turn. A little bit tight for these F1 cars. These cars are quite big. The gravel trap they added here in Spa has been absolutely brutal. It's such a punishing thing to have. And we see Gunnar almost go out of the line there, I believe, but we see his foot still on the gas. He did not get disqualified. Good control of the car going through Pohun. Coming up onto Stavelot. You guys can see what I mean. It's kind of an odd right-hand entry there. If you miss, you go straight into the gravel. Now we see a fast little section here coming up into turn 16 right here. A very odd 17 right here. You're going to have to see this. It's a tight little left there at very high speeds, almost 200 miles per hour. Now coming up into the bus stop. Very late break into the bus stop. Bit of a lockup there. Good swinging through the bus stop, and we might see a very strong time here as he sets the fastest lap now. We have a fair amount of other fast laps here. I believe we're now watching David Shahud, 451 here in the Haas. He is a reserve driver going through campus right now. And Reimer in the Ferrari sets our current fastest lap, a 141.999, barely breaking into the minute 41 timer here. Focoena in the Haas, a 142.920. We're going to have to see how David responds here. And I just realized that this is this dude's outlap, actually. So we'll be back to David. Somebody just said another. Nope. IUF1 William and the Aston Martin now moving up into 4th position here. And we're now currently watching Rebel, who is 2nd currently in the Drivers' Championship. We're going to have to see how fast this lap is. It's going to be a real competition between MSA Samad and Rebel. As I'd mentioned, I think these two are going to be closing off the season for us. This is MSA Samad's first season in Purple Sector F1, and he is done a phenomenal job as we see Rebel lose control of the car coming out of campus, and that will have most likely affected any significant addition of the board that he may have had. Excuse me, guys. As I mentioned, I'm a little sick. I do apologize if I cough. I think as the adrenaline watching the race hits me, I'll be a little less coffee. We're now watching Rebel hit the bus stop, and he still decides to finish the lap here despite having the major slip coming out of campus. And nonetheless, despite the major slip coming out of campus, Rebel sets the third fastest time, a 142.317. And MSA Samad sets a 153.817. And it looks like he's still going, though. Full battery. That may have been MSA Samad's outlap, and it just simply wasn't registered as that. We're now watching MSA Samad here come up onto turn 5. Strong right-hander, very small lockup. Didn't really affect them all too much, though. Mudev is in second position. I could have sworn there was another guy right there. Very slow into turn 8. We see MSA Samad now hitting turn 9. A lot of grass. So he took a lot of grass on that corner. As we now see a wonderful little left-handed swing here. David Shahud moves up into 4th position, beating out his teammate by about 0.4 of a second here. Good drive from the Haas team so far. This could be some wonderful points for the American team. We're now watching MSA Samad here, coming up on the back end of Sector 3, or kind of starting it, and we see the V-Carb move out of the way there. That is MSA Samad's teammate, JM624, one of our also very strong, consistent drivers here on the grid. And let's see how MSA Samad responds to Rebel's 142. Strong lockup into the bus, loses the rear there a little bit, manages to control the car, comes out of turn 19 there, and crosses the line right below MSA Samad, about 0.2, a 142.561. Good drive from both of these guys. We did see some errors, respectively, to both of these gentlemen. We're going to have to see how they decide to clean it up as we move further into the qualifying session. Ladies and gentlemen, I am trying to see who's out right now still. A lot of our guys are in the pits. Only 2 of our guys here are coming out of the pits, 3 of them now. We have Despy, Money, and GDB. Let's watch the wonderful grain of the Aston Martin here. If you are a first-time viewer, do drop something in the chat. We are Purple Sector F1 Racing League. This is Season 13, Race 10 of the Belgian, here at the Belgian Grand Prix. If you are interested in sim racing, we absolutely love having new people, as we now watch GDB move off to the side here for one of the for MSA Samad here in the V-Carb. But as I was saying, if you're new here, please join. We absolutely love having new drivers. We do have 2 divisions if you're new to racing. If you're not new to racing, we do have a kind of more of a veteran division. D2 is our rookie league, where we help drivers who are new to sim racing kind of figure out the flow, how to get their racecraft up properly, and so on and so forth. It's a wonderful, wonderful league. I kind of joined PSF1 when I was a little bit early into my F1 sim racing, at least, and it's been awesome. Great help from a lot of these senior drivers here. And then we have D1, Division 1, which is what we're watching and what I'm commentating here right now. Division 1 is our competitive league, as you can see here. As we're now watching GDB come out of turn 19 here very slowly, using battery. That was it's a very interesting strategy here, deciding not to use any momentum going into the bus stop and instead making it a drag race coming out of turn 19. We're now watching GDB come up onto turns 2, 3, 4 here, Eau Rouge, or the Redillion here. Comfortable speed, 190 through that section is quite impressive here. Using a lot of battery here in Sector 1. We're going to have to see how GDB decides to make up for that fact. A wonderful swing into Lacombs here. No lockup from what I could hear. Great control of the car. We may be seeing a very strong lap here right now, guys. As I was saying, though, as we're now watching GDB go into turn 9, I highly encourage any veteran drivers here to join us as well. Division 1 is a wonderful racing league, or I guess section of our league. Very, very clean racecraft. I've had a phenomenal time racing against nearly all of these guys here. I think there's very few, maybe 2 or 3 of these guys that I've never actually gone wheel to wheel against. But it's a great league in that regard. One of the cleanest that I've gotten the pleasure of racing in. We're now watching GDB here coming into Sector 3 now. Or at the start of Sector 3, excuse me. Coming up into turn 16. About to hit 17 here. Comfortable little swing there. Only lost 2 miles there in miles per hour. Hitting the bus stop. Hitting the brakes at the 100 meter marker. Great stopping point here. Good control going into the bus stop. And we see GDB move up into 10th position right behind his teammate here, a 144.301. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, I will be moving here to our second place driver in our Drivers' Champion here, Rebel. With only 4 races to go for the points, Rebel is going to want to set himself up nicely here as he now crosses the start line here and begins his flying lap. Very strong lockup into turn 1 there, hitting a very nice hairpin angle though. I always find the hairpin angle very entertaining between the two, like all the different motorsports. I feel like in GT3 racing you take that angle so much sharper than you would in Formula 1. Excuse me. I'm going to start muting myself when I cough. I don't want to blow your guys' eardrums. I feel like you take that angle so much sharper than you do or less sharp than you do in maybe GT3 or hypercars. I'm kind of curious as to why. I think it's more of a momentum thing. F1 cars are just able to hold their momentum better due to the downforce that they experience, whereas hypercars, GT3, and other respective. We actually see Rebel here touch the gravel. That may have disqualified his lap there on turn 9. We still see his foot to the floor though, so that may not have been a full disqualification there. But as I was saying, I'm curious if it's because of the downforce effect that these F1 cars experience. They're just able to take a kind of a wider off angle into the hairpin simply because they're able to hold their momentum a little stronger. In GT3 racing, at least, I have to take it so sharply and almost treat it like I'm trying to just get a good drag race out of the turn 1 hairpin. We're watching Rebel hit turn 17 here. Coming up to the bus stop of turn 18 and 19. A very strong lockup there. Good control though. Good swing. Not watching him lose the rear of the car. That's something I always do in turn 19. And he is not able to improve. Off by 0.069 seconds there. Very unfortunate for Rebel here as we now watch MSA Samad here hitting campus now. Coming up on the Stavelot turn 14 here. Hitting a wonderful turn 15. I don't know if you guys saw that. He flicked his wheel for me. I'm not sure if that's normal there. I'm gonna say Samad now approaching the bus stop. Very, very strong slide. Loses the rear of the car, and that may have been on purpose though. That looked very deliberate. He drove into the pit lane very deliberately. Very aggressive attempt there from MSA Samad to try to get onto a podium position there. We'll have to see if he has any time to come back out. As we're now watching JM also go into the pit lane here. We'll see if anybody else is not on their pit lane. Papatism in the Alpine here, currently on a hot lap right now. Going through Pohun right now. I hope I'm pronouncing Pohun right here. Hitting a campus turn, I believe, 16 and... No, not 16, 17. Excuse me. That was 12 and 13. Now hitting Stavelot turn 14 here. These camera angles are so far away right now. It's kind of interesting. You can't really hear the car at all. It's kind of throwing me off. I'm sorry, I'm being quiet because I'm trying to hear the car here. We're now watching him approach the bus stop, though. Let's see And Papatism dives also into the pit here. Papatism will not have any more time to get another fast lap in. Let's see IUF1 William here, who we've yet to watch. He's currently hitting the Kemmel straight now here. Now, as I had mentioned, IUF1 William is one of our more entertaining drivers, admittedly. We've seen a lot of action with this guy. He is a reserve driver, to my understanding, and is currently racing for the wonderful green machine that is Aston Martin. Prosk RL, we are so back. Welcome back from winter break, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. If you are joining us for the first time, my name is Wild Hero. I will be your commentator for today, and you're watching the Purple Sector F1 Racing League. As we're now watching IUF1 William approach the campus turn, 12-13 here. Nice little right-left. Didn't take a lot of grass there. We've seen a few of our faster drivers pick up a fair amount of grass in that section. I'm not sure if that's them trying to maximize track there, or if maybe they just bit too much off on the corners. This is so quiet. This is blowing my mind. I feel like the other tracks are so much louder. We're watching the McLaren there, I believe, of Gunner move out of the way for IUF1 William as William hits turn 18. That might have been a corner cut right there. I'm a little unsure, actually. That looked quite frisky. And moves up into 7th position. A great lap here from IUF1 William. A 142.693. Not quite enough to move up past the Haas of Focoena here. And on the point of the Haas of Focoena, ladies and gentlemen, I did not see this. David Shahud 451 in the Haas has moved up excuse me, into 2nd position, as we may be having a Haas driver a Haas driver on our podium. We're going to have to see what happens here. And on that note, our 2 driver championship contenders, Rebel and MSA Samad, are currently 4th and 5th right now as well, actually. So a very interesting starting grid here at the moment. They're all on outlaps, and I believe they're all going to have an opportunity to try to get one final time in. I think starting position here is going to be quite important for a lot of these guys right now. You know what I just realized? Prosk, I'm sad that you're missing Spa as well. This is such an entertaining track to watch. It's one of my favorites to drive too. I mean, it's such a phenomenal drive. Well, I'm sure many B-Men will represent the Williams team. We'll have you here next week for Brazil, I believe. So we'll get to show you off to everybody then. We're currently watching MSA Samad here go through Eau Rouge, hitting the Kemmel straight now. David Shahud finishes off at 142.032, our provisional 2nd place sitter at the moment. Rebel also did not improve his time, sitting in 4th position. We're going to have to see if MSA Samad is able to respond to his 4 competitors ahead of him here. He did just set a Purple Sector 1 here. Excuse me. I do not know how D2 went, Prosk. Unfortunately, I could not tell you. I did miss that. Thank you for calling that out. Samad is 0.2 quicker here. Going through campus, we're going to have to see what the update time is here right now in a second, as he's about to enter into Sector 3, hitting turn 14 now. Almost a full second. MSA Samad is currently 0.6 quicker than his fastest lap right now. That will be putting him ahead of Rebel and Mudev, I believe, actually. And JM in the V car moves up into 3rd position. A big upset. We have not seen JM624 qualify this far ahead before. We're going to have to see if MSA Samad is able to join his teammate on the front row here, or at least 2nd to front row. MSA Samad moves up into 2nd position. A phenomenal drive from MSA Samad, moving to the front row. His teammate JM624 right behind him in the 2nd row. And Rebel, ladies and gentlemen, will be starting. And Mudev moves up into 1st position. I spoke too soon. Mudev, after missing 2 races, makes a statement piece here in the qualifying race, or qualifying session here in Spa, and moves up into 1st position on a 141.865, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I gotta get a better bot. I don't know why we named it Money the Merchant. Ladies and gentlemen, though, that was a phenomenal qualifying session. Having some fun here in the chat. If you're new here, please drop something in there. If not, I love talking with you guys. It's always fun talking while we're watching racing. That's what we're all here for anyway. Brazil, Prosk, is the answer to your question. We were racing in Brazil. But I mean, that's the point here, right? I mean, we're all here to watch racers. We love racecraft. We love hard racing, clean racing specifically. And, you know, I love talking to you guys. I'm a commentator, but I'm a friend. Nah, Prosk, you got to practice, man. I'm just hearing excuses, obviously, right now. No, I'm kidding. You're a good driver. Prosk is underplaying himself. We've seen some phenomenal drives from Prosk this season. He's talking all this right now. 1 month off. Ooh, nah. I lied, Prosk. You're right. My bad. Never mind. Don't expect anything from Prosk. He does have some great highlights, though, in previous races. If you guys want to check out our YouTube channel, he is a good driver. He's just not going to be a good driver next week. But while we wait here, ladies and gentlemen, for our race to begin, I do want to give some quotes here from some IRL drivers. So Fernando Alonso has called Spa pure racing. If you're fast here, you're fast anywhere. Lewis Hamilton says that the elevation and speed makes it one of the most special tracks we have, and I do fully agree with that. I believe Spa is incredibly unique. It's a very entertaining track. And then Max Verstappen has a quote here saying, "You feel the car come alive through Eau Rouge. It's always a test of confidence," which is 100% true. Now, I'll be completely honest. I think modern F1 cars make it really easy to go through Eau Rouge. But I guess if you're on old tires, you know, that's probably a bit more of a true statement. I will say, in pretty much any other sim, in any other racing scenario, I would say that I'm lowering my mic sensitivity here. I'm noticing that I'm peaking a lot, guys. Excuse me about that. But I feel like Eau Rouge in pretty much every other motorsport is the scariest thing that hits. Whether it be hypercar, GT3, anything below F1, it's scary to do, is what I'm trying to get at here. Yes, and Proskier's mentioned that it's fun in the wet too. Spa is fun in the wet across the board. It's a very, very technical track in the wet. Due to the high speed aspect of it, it makes it quite difficult to confidently control the car in such precarious scenarios. But I do apologize here, guys. I just realized that for some reason the chat isn't showing up on... Here we go. I don't know if the chat will show up now on screen. I just added this. Trying to learn how to use Stream Element Overlay. So this is my first actual time attempting to use it. Yeah, we did see some phenomenal drives from Lewis Hamilton here. I mean, I think any wet racer, we've seen unreal levels of just racecraft and display here. I'm trying to see if I can remember anybody myself in particular right now. I'm thinking of Brazil right now. I'm thinking of Brazil and Max's last 2 seasons in the wet in Brazil. But excuse me. But as we're still waiting for some of our drivers to load here, allow me to provide some more wonderful information here. So Sector 1, ladies and gentlemen, is turns 1 through 4, and it's referred to as pure commitment. Sector 1 requires a driver to be so confident in their car, in their downforce, mechanical grip, you name it, they got to be confident in it. Sector 2 is turns 5 through 10, so that's the start of Lacombes, pretty much going through all the medium speed areas right up until turn... Actually, that's wrong. Excuse me. Turns 5 through turn 14, I believe, is Sector 2, because Sector 3 appears right at the end of turn 14. So turns 5 through turns 14 Medium speed, as you guys saw, it's very fast medium speed. You feel the momentum in the car, even if it may not look like it in the broadcast mode. To those of you who may not have been with us when I was in cockpit mode, it's quite a very precarious thing to feel under you. If your tires are worn at all, you got to be incredibly careful. As we're now watching our drivers here come out onto the formation lap right now. And then last but not least, I do want to finish my little fun fact sheet here. Sector 3 turns 15 to 19 is high speed with the sudden braking at the bus stop chicane. Once again, high tire wear in this section of the track. A lot of tire wear reliance, especially once you come up to the bus stop chicane. But that is it for fun facts, ladies and gentlemen. We're now coming up here on our race right now. Oh, excuse me. We'll be getting rid of the full track map here. I will be activating telemetry data, and I will be doing position changes here for the start of our race. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Ma 7 Mudev 31 in the Mercedes here. A surprise comeback after missing 2 races, now netting a pole position here. Following him is Reimer in the Ferrari, a contender for possible driver champion, only 57 points away, and he has a very strong start here. Unfortunately for him, MSA Samad in the V car of our current driver champion, or provisional driver champion, right behind him in 3rd position. We're going to have to see how he's able to get the start off here. David Shahud in the Haas here. David Shahud is one of... Just muted myself, I realized. David Shahud is one of our reserve drivers who has made a sudden appearance here in the top 4. Followed by that is JM624. I believe this is JM624's highest qualifying start. I do apologize to JM624 if that is not the case, but nonetheless, a phenomenal qualifying is what I'm trying to get at here. This is going to be phenomenal points for the VCARB team in the Constructors' Championship. Following that is Rebel, our 2nd place here for the Drivers' Championship. We're going to have to see how he's able to work his way back up the field. He is missing out on some pretty major points here right now. Followed then is Foko Enna in the Haas here, a 7th place position, chasing a podium high that he missed out on in Vegas, unfortunately. We'll have to see if he's able to do anything here. IUF1 William in the Aston Martin here, starting us off in 8th position. Despy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in 9th position. Mini B-Man 95 representing the Williams team here in 10th position. Money, our race director here, in 11th position. Gunner AD 7-7 in 12th position. Papatism, who is a D2 driver, joining us here today in D1. Welcome, Papatism, in the Alpine here. Grumpy Dad 914, also a D2 driver. We did see him a little bit in D1 previously in the Ferrari here. 2nd to last in 14th position. And following that is GDB 0791 in the Aston Martin 15th position. Ladies and gentlemen, though, I hope you are strapped into your seats. This is going to be a very fun start to the race here. As the lights come up, and away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Very slow start from this angle. We see MSA Samad take the inside onto turn 1 here. No contact as Mudev ghosts out here. We see Reimer take advantage of the situation, and Reimer and Mudev are all holding onto their positions here. MSA Samad was not able to get a move up here, as we're now watching 2 cars go into Eau Rouge, and we see the Alpine lose control of the car. Rebel is moving down many positions. Rebel and IUF1 William collided as Rebel falls to last position. A huge moment in the race, ladies and gentlemen. A massive moment. David Shahud has fallen to 6th position here as JM and IUF1 William have moved up ahead of him now. Foko Enna fell 2 positions here as we see him take a wide line. Mini B-Man comes up into 9th position. The car behind him, Grumpy Dad, manages to move up 3 positions as well. GDB looking for the inside on turn 8, moving in on Grumpy Dad. A big move attempt here, and it looks like GDB got the move done into turn 9. Phenomenal maneuver there. We're going to have to see where Rebel is. Rebel still quite close here, moving past his teammate Papatism through Money. Phenomenal move. Through goes Rebel, coming up onto turn 10 and 9. Phenomenal moves from all of these guys. Super unfortunate moment there. super unfortunate moment there, excuse me, with Rebel having major contact with the Aston Martin and falling all the way down to 9th position. Rebel has managed to move up to 13th now since that start, and he may be able to bring back this race here. IUF1 William, though, phenomenal start from this gentleman right here, moving up 4 whole positions. We're going to have to see what the stewards say about the contact we saw between him and the Alpine But nonetheless, a very aggressive start, and he has made the most of it here right now. JM 624 here, right behind the Aston Martin, is definitely sniffing some action right now. Let's jump to the back of the grid here, see if we see any action, and I'm not seeing anything. I will be jumping back up here. That was quite insane. Our only group that I believe went into Eau Rouge together, and it resulted in a major spit out there. So big moment. Big moment here in the race. Thankfully for Rebel, it happened quite early in the race, so he may be able to bring it back. Allow me to check if Rebel has wing damage. He did not pit. Rebel, I repeat, has not yet pitted, and I am not seeing any wing damage, actually. Rebel does not have any wing damage from his collision with IUF1 William on Eau Rouge. There's no discernible wing damage on Rebel. Rebel is going to be able to continue his race here. The only major thing that occurred to him is most likely tire wear, obviously due to the spin out. But a very, very lucky scenario here for Rebel, to be quite frank with you. I definitely would have thought that would have been a huge wing moment. And IUF1 William also doesn't seem to have any relevant wing damage. That must have been straight tire-to-tire contact there. And Rebel just unfortunately lost out on the netcode gods there. As we're now watching JM here still sniffing the back of this Aston Martin, coming up onto turns 16 and 17 now. David Shahud here, as we see a pass in the back here as Rebel moves past JDB coming up into turn 16. A good pass, I assume. I'm a little bummed we missed that, as he now comes up onto the bus stop. We'll see if the Aston Martin decides to go for it, and no, the Aston Martin of GDB does not decide to go for a dive attempt there. Let's jump back up to our trio up here. And Reimer, ladies and gentlemen, I just realized, made a move on Mudev going into turn 1, moving up into first position. Mudev is now in second place now, as Reimer is already at a 6/10 gap here. Sorry guys, there's been a lot of action going on. I've not really been looking at the chat. T3Y5 or T3RY5, thank you for joining us here today. It seems that one of our drivers here, Prosk, has already helped you, so I will be talking with you here shortly. But for right now, let's just watch this wonderful action here. I see Prosk saying that going side by side with William is not a good idea. I think going side by side with anybody into Eau Rouge is almost bound for a major misfire. William is, as I mentioned, guys, one of our more aggressive drivers, so fighting him is always a risk that these guys are aware they need to take. But nonetheless, a very unfortunate moment, as Rebel has now actually moved up into 10th position here after falling down to 15th. A great drive from Rebel here so far. I'm going to say Samad now, though. Quite close to the back of Mudev. Mudev was closing in on Reimer, but it seems to me that going into campus and into turn 14, he seemed to have lost a few tenths of a second here. As we now see a few drops here, JM falling quite behind. I'm curious if there was a spin out, and I'm not seeing anything clearly here. Does not seem like there's any major moment there. I was curious as to why we saw some movement there on the left side. I do agree. I think Reimer's race pace is mythical. Unfortunately for Reimer, Mudev and MSA Samad are sniffing him right now. And those are the two drivers I would totally see being able to get something off here. As we now still have our little trio. We have two different trios, and they're all at the front of the grid. We have Reimer, Mudev, MSA Samad, and then IUF1 William, David Shahud, and Gunner. A very, very fantastic drive here so far, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm having an absolute blast here right now. As we see Reimer and MSA Samad, or excuse me, MSA Samad go for a deep dive, not a deep dive, a good dive into turn 5 here and gets a pass done on Mudev, moving up into second position. I agree, Prosk. I do believe Reimer will, or not Reimer, Rebel will be getting a top 5 finish. I mean, he's already in 9th position here. But I did want to show off here our top 3 drivers and any shenanigans going on. David Shahud has managed to get past IUF1 William as well. We did unfortunately miss that. David Shahud is now back up into 4th position and is now gaining a bit of a gap on IUF1 William, almost a full second ahead of him now again, actually. Let's jump back over here to Rebel here, our underdog for today's race. Going into turn... Oh, what is that? I'm sorry, guys. That's Campus. I know the name is Campus. That's turns 12 and 13. Going into turn 14 now. We're going to be watching some of Rebel's race pace here. He is now going to be competing against JM, though, and JM unfortunately had a major moment as well, it seemed like. Fell behind a few spots, but is one of our faster drivers as well, one of our more technical drivers. We're going to see how Rebel handles JM. It's going to be his first real big challenge here as he tries to make his way back up the field. Other than that, though, I'm not seeing anything too crazy here. David Shahud has managed to pull a 1-second gap here from IUF1 William. Gunnar has not been able to close the gap on IUF1 William, and it seems like Focoena is going to be trying to go for a move here, coming up into Eau Rouge, almost side by side. Sitting behind a good entrance from Focoena going into Eau Rouge here. Bad entrance from Gunnar. We're going to have to see what happens here as they go into the Camel Straight. DRS assistance, almost no battery, and it looks like Focoena will get a very by-the-book pass here as we now see JM and Rebel in the background here. JM and Rebel are going to be faster than the two drivers ahead of them right now. We're going to have to see how the traffic clogs up both of these drivers. A little bit of a left or a right tire lockup there from Rebel. Big moments here today on today's race. This has been a great race coming back. Big moment from JM as he swings ride on Pohen. Such a strange name to pronounce. Pohen. Did not lose out on the position here, though, to Rebel. Managed to keep the speed. Going into turn 14, we're seeing Rebel just absolutely sniff the rear of this car right now. Let's go on board here with Rebel. Rebel has a lot of battery, whereas JM does not have any battery. As they come up on a bus stop, we're going to have to see if Rebel decides to brake later here. And it doesn't look like Rebel feels comfortable to go for a late braking maneuver there. The McLaren is quite close, very close, to the front of this V-carb. It would have been a very risky maneuver, or it would have had to have been a mandatory double overtake for Rebel there. Nice entrance here into the hairpin from Rebel. It seems to me that he's going to be using the Camel Straight DRS zone as a comfortable overtaking as they now enter Eau Rouge. Sitting on the backside, JM moves to the inside and lets Rebel through here. Side-by-side action. That is a beautiful broadcasting angle. Turn off that telemetry. I agree, Bros. The exit of the bus stop is so difficult to try to do. I'm terrible at it in every game. F1, GT3, Hypercar, or LMU, whatever you want to call it. I'm probably going to be bad in it too in iRacing Arcade if Spa's in that one. I guarantee it. Such a tough exit of almost any track, I think, honestly. It's just a weird sharp up angle. So easy to lose the rear on it. It's very annoying. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not seen Mudev be able to make a move back on the top two drivers that passed him earlier, but Mudev is still nonetheless quite comfortably staying within range of the two drivers ahead of him. We're going to have to see how Mudev's strategy plays into this. Mudev is one of our more strategically minded excuse me, individuals, so I have zero doubt in my mind that he's cooking up an idea in his mind right now. I do apologize. I'm grabbing a cough drop right now. As we see Rebel maybe go for the inside here of Gunnar. Sold him a dummy. Did not decide to go for a pass on the bus stop here. I did see Rebel shake for an inside there, and I really thought he was going to go for it. I was not ready to switch the camera. As we now see IUF1 William and Focoena here racing. And IUF1 William managing to hold the position here. Let's jump on board here to our Alpine driver as we now watch him very comfortably pass Gunnar using the DRS system here on Camel Straight. Bit of action here at the front as we watch Focoena go for the outside into Lacombs here. Unfortunately, oversold his momentum, was not able to hold it, and fell a little behind IUF1 William. He's going to want to set himself up if he maybe goes for a turn 8 pass, and no. Despite the speed here, Focoena decides to back out of a turn 8 pass maneuver attempt, and Rebel is in full display of the action here right now. Rebel P5 by the end of the stint. All right, we'll see. I like that. I like that prediction. Good prediction, Pros. Fantastic drive from Rebel here so far. Going from, well, started 6th, spun out to 15th, is back up to 7th in 7 laps. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just an emphasis on how good Rebel is here and why he is a contender for the Drivers' Championship. We see Focoena go for the outside on turn 17. It looks like they're going side by side. A wonderful angle here from Rebel's cockpit perspective, and Focoena gets the pass done before they enter the bus stop. A phenomenal outside maneuver from the Haas car here as Focoena moves up into 5th position. Absolutely insane pass. That is such a risky pass to do, if you were to ask me. Unreal pass attempt and success from Focoena as we actually see Mudev go into the pit lane for a fresh set of hard tires. Focoena now very comfortably pulling away from IUF1 William. We're going to have to see how the DRS system benefits IUF1 William here right now. Rebel, nonetheless, is still kind of staying back here right now, actually. I'm kind of intrigued. IUF1 William going for the inside, and we'll get the pass done coming up in the campus. Unfortunately, Focoena was not able to hold the position here and lost out to IUF1 William now, and we'll have to be fighting for that position back. Focoena will have the tire advantage. Sorry, I'm reading the chat here. Yes, T3R Y5. I'm gonna call you Tarek. I don't know why, but that seems correct. That is F1. That's just it's because we have an Australian and a North American championship series. So NACS is our North American series. We're watching Focoena here very, very close to the back of IUF1 William. You can tell that the tire life on Focoena is just so much higher than IUF1 William right now. It seems to me that Focoena is just focusing on not rear-ending the Aston Martin over attempting to get a pass here, and Rebel sitting very close to the back of both of these drivers still. Focoena and IUF1 William have to defend an inside line here a little bit as IUF1 William actually goes into the pit lane and Rebel decides to follow him. Rebel follows IUF1 William into the pit lane. Focoena moves up into 4th position, and the 2 Haas cars are leading the race. This is the best thing ever. Yes, very true. We did have an Australian championship. Unfortunately, they are no longer active. Ladies and gentlemen, David Shahud, Focoena, and Gunner are our top 3 drivers here right now. David Shahud is a whole 7 seconds ahead here of the rest of the competition. We're going to have to see if the clear air has been a benefit. Excuse me, has been a benefit to the tire life. Tarek, the North American does cover Canada, USA, and Mexico. So no worries there. If there's any translation issues, I am a Spanish speaker actually. Oh, is there a Mexican driver? No, unfortunately not. We do not have a Mexican driver, so if you want to be our first one, are you Mexican, Cross? I'm so lost right now. Hold on. Despy is Mexican. You're so right. Yes, Tarek. Thank you. Well, you can speak Spanish. Okay. I am Mexican as well. I don't drive, though. You're right, though. You're Puerto Rican, Prost. Wow, I didn't know that. Sorry, I'm getting distracted talking to you guys. We see GDB offline here. Where is he? Going into turn 14, GDB has allowed like 4 cars through right now. GDB is actually missing a front left wing here. Super unfortunate for the Aston Martin team. That's going to be a major moment. GDB does have to pit still too, and that's going to really affect him. Big moment there for the Aston Martin team. But sorry, there's so much happening right now. I'm trying to figure out who to watch right now. David Shahud, though, who was our race leader, is now coming out into 7th position here as we now see Money pass him. Honestly, not a bad place to come out if you were to ask me. David Shahud has been a pretty strong driver here in Spa so far. Unfortunately, Mini B-Man seemed to have lost a few positions, is currently in the pit now. I don't think he had any major moments, thankfully. But we now see Money and David Shahud fighting here. As we actually see Money drive into David Shahud there. That might have been a very interesting dive attempt there from David. A very strong outside dive there. Money does slam into his right side pod, and David Shahud will decide to keep the position and move up. Tarek, that's true. That might have been a wing loss. He didn't come out too far behind, though, considering that he was in 13th position. I really wish I had multiple views on my end. It's so hard to just keep track of the race on one camera. But yeah, Tarek, we actually do have a Mexican. I apologize. His name's Despy. He's racing right now, actually. He's in the Red Bull. A very good driver. A very consistent driver. We have a pile up here right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're now coming up into the bus stop right now. Big lockup there for Mudev as we now see JM go into the pit lane here. JM trying to give MSA Samad an opportunity, I think that might have been. That was kind of interesting. JM stuck to the inside of the bus stop, kind of clogged up the lane, I think, and slowed the other two guys down. Foco Enna, though, still staying out with 10-lap old hard tires right now. We're going to have to see as MSA Samad moves to the outside of the Mercedes and gets a by-the-book DRS pass coming up into turn 5. Yeah, we're going to have to see how Foco Enna's strategy is going to play here. Very interesting, staying out for 10 laps on these hard tires. It's clear that he's losing quite a bit of time now to the cars behind him. But Foco Enna may just be trying to play a long game that none of us can fathom right now. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 William and Rebel are back at it here again, both on 2-lap old hard tires. Rebel managed to get the move on IUF1 William. We saw them go into the pit lane a little bit ago, and this is where they are now. We're going to have to see how Rebel decides to defend here from IUF1 William after their wonderful little fiasco at the start of the race. Money will be a major. We're actually seeing a little bit of fighting in the back here. No, we have a moment actually between GDB and Mini B-Man, and Mini B-Man attempting to move out of the way for GDB. It seems like there was some contact here. Mini B-Man does not feel comfortable with the pass and has given the position back here to the Aston Martin. We love that. We love some clean racing. We love some clean racing here as we now have Mini B-Man sniffing the back of this Aston Martin. Seems like Mini B-Man trying to get a sniff somewhere along this line right now. He may be waiting for the bus stop. Now, drivers in PSF1 do get points between 1st to 15th, actually. So everybody here will be getting a point of some kind as long as they finish the race. I think even if you DNF, we give you the point. And Rebel moving past Money. We see Mini B-Man try to go for an inside here on bus stop, selling a dummy, decides not to go for the pass attempt here. I will be jumping back up here to our top drivers here, as we now have IUF1 William here going for an inside dive into turn 8 here. Very aggressive maneuver. We see the McLaren in the rear view mirrors. He does manage to get the maneuver done. A very deep move there, and it manages to move up past Money. IUF1 William is hunting Rebel right now. Yes, Tarek, as a reserve driver, you just fill any positions that you need to fill. Now, on that note, we do leave the kick team as a full-time reserve team. So in the event that all the full-time drivers are racing, there's at least always 2 positions open for reserve drivers. We're kind of seeing a lot of these drivers get into their groove right now, guys. I would like to say hi to our 11 viewers here. I'm gonna say Samad. Oh, excuse me. I thought something happened there. Foco Enna has decided to go into the pit lane finally after being on 12 lap old hard tires. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, that is now everybody's pit here, except for Money. Money has yet to go into the pits yet. We're gonna have to see what Money's long-term game is here. But for now, we've had a phenomenal race here so far. A lot of action, a lot of action. We see MSA Samad actually go a little bit into the inside there onto turn 5, thinking about it. MSA Samad and Reimer have shown phenomenal levels of racecraft this season, and I have zero doubt in my mind this is going to be a very, very entertaining race. Rebel has managed to get up into 5th position now. It is 5.5 seconds behind David Shahud. Rebel is now officially 1 position above from where he started. So a great drive here from Rebel after the major spin out at the start of the race, going down to 15th, up to 5th now in 13 laps. I agree. I do believe he's going to get David. It's going to be a bit of a slow one, though. We've clearly seen David as a very strong driver here so far. I believe right now we're kind of going to be hitting, we're seeing a little bit of action actually at the back of the field here between GDB and Mini B-Man as GDB gets a move done on, and some rear contact. There's Mini B-Man, hits the back of the Aston Martin. Super unfortunate moment there. I don't see any clear wing damage on the Williams car, though. We've seen a little bit of tussling here between these 2 cars. Fair amount of action, I think. I don't have a quick bar to go down to anything below the top 10, unfortunately, so I can't jump around that easily. We do have MSA Samad here sniffing the back of the Ferrari here. Very, very close. We'll have DRS advantage here. And it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, JM624 is going to be able to get a move past here. Ferrari squeezing him into turn 5 and is not able to defend the position here. And yes, coming out of turn 7, that is pretty much the end of any possible re-overtaking opportunities there. MSA Samad, ladies and gentlemen, is now your race leader here after a very, very good fight into turn 5. A phenomenal squeeze there from Reimer. Good show of racecraft there. Foco Enna and... Foco Enna and IUF1 Williams seem to have had a moment here. I'm not seeing any major wing loss. And it seems, ladies and gentlemen, there was a moment between the Haas car and the Aston Martin driver. It did not cost them any positions. It did allow Gunnar and JM to close the gap a little bit from where they were originally, though. We're going to have to see if the Haas driver is able to bring something back here. A lot of action here so far. We now have a 4-way train here at the moment. IUF1 William is our conductor, and we're going to have to see if the 2 drivers behind these guys are going to decide to take advantage of it. I believe everybody's on hard tires right now. And Foco Enna trying to go for an inside line coming up into turn 16, 17. We can feel the desperation here with Foco Enna. He's going inside, he's going outside, and decides not to go for a pass on bus stop. A little bit of a lockup, good swing into the bus stop. Coming out of turn 19 now. A little bit of a rear end loss there. It's going to be a drag race coming up into turn 1. Side by side, these guys are separated by less than 1/10 of a second. Foco Enna decides to not go for a dive into turn 1. Foco Enna will most likely be relying on the Kemmel Straight DRS assistance here for an overtake on the Aston Martin. Let's hope that doesn't cost them any possible positions for the drivers in the back here. A lot of battery right now, and it seems like Foco Enna is going for an outside pass coming up into turn 5, and IUF1 William manages to hold the position going into turn 5, moving up into turn 7. Phenomenal driving from both of these guys right now. And GDB 0791 has decided to retire from the session. Very unfortunate for the Aston Martin team. That will still be at least 1 point for finishing in 15th place, though. We see the Haas driver, man. He's getting desperate. It seems like Focoena wants to get a move done on IUF1 William and catch up to Rebel here right now. They're now 11 seconds behind Rebel, who's currently in 5th position, and Alpine has not been able to close the gap, though, to David Shahud. We're having a nice little two-way fight here between the Aston Martin of IUF1 William, the Haas of Focoena, the McLaren of Gunner AD77, and the V-Carb of JM624. Oh God, excuse me, guys. I'm trying to learn how to mute before I cough. It's a little annoying. Focoena is now almost a full second behind IUF1 William. As I was looking at my microphone after coughing, I completely missed what happened there. That was a little embarrassing. Reimer, ladies and gentlemen, gets a pass done on MSA Samad here, coming out of the Kemmel Straight, as they now switch positions back. Mudev still sitting in the back of both of these drivers. I wonder if Mudev's hoping that some kind of little collision maybe happens there. If you are with us here for the first time, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Purple Sector F1 Racing. We are a Formula One league here. We should have our Discord readily available if you'd like to join. We offer opportunities for new drivers and veteran drivers. Our Division 2 league is for newer individuals who want to maybe learn a little bit more racecraft, and Division 1 is what you're watching right now. This is a bit more of our veteran league, or people that excuse me, at least feel comfortable with racing, as Grumpy Dad gets a 3-second time penalty here in the Ferrari. We offer a calendar schedule, which I will be showing at the end of the race for anybody who's interested. If not, I believe you can scroll back to sometime at the beginning of the stream, and you can get a quick glimpse of our calendar there. If you're curious when we start, if you go to the very start of the stream, I have a little timer there that says that the stream's starting at X20 p.m. Respective to your time zone, and we start always at the 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30 time, respectively, for the Division 1 race at least. Still watching these guys kind of duke it out a little bit. Focoena has not been able to get a comfortable move done on IUF1 William. The more Focoena waits, the more those medium tires that he's on are going to get worn down. Focoena is going to want to get a move done sooner rather than later. It seems like Focoena has saved up 100% battery and will be attempting to money in the McLaren. Gets the fastest lap on a set of mediums, a 145.739, I believe. Phenomenal move there. Big ups to, and we actually see Reimer, ladies and gentlemen, give up 2 positions here. It seems like Reimer lost control of the car going into turn 9 or coming out of turn 8 and has given up 2 positions to MSA Samad and Mudev. A big moment here. We have these drivers coming up into turn 8. Focoena goes for a deep dive into turn 8. A little bit of contact there. No wing damage, as Focoena will have the inside coming up into turn 9. And IUF1 William decides to back off, it looks like. Sitting very close, sniffing the back of that car right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let us jump on board. And no, Reimer is rapidly dropping. Ladies and gentlemen, Reimer in the Ferrari, our current, or was our race leader, has fallen down into 4th position now. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. 8-lap old hard tires, not very old tires here. I'm curious if Reimer just doesn't feel comfortable. Reimer might be on AI. I'm very curious as to what's happening right now. I'm not too sure what's going on. Reimer has now fallen to 4th position. I don't think it's AI. When we jumped onto Reimer here just now, he had gravel on his tires. I think he's just been losing control of the car. Right now, I'm trying to see if it's AI. Right now, it looks a lot like AI. Mahmudev going for an inside pass, coming up into turn 5, getting a pass done at the end of the Kemmel Straight into Lacombe's. Mudev now once again leads the start of the race right now. big moment. We unfortunately missed the pass. Bocoena managed to get a pass done on IUF1 William. That was a huge moment in the race, though, as Reimer seemed to have lost control of the car on 2 separate corners, unfortunately falling down into 4th position here. And it seems like JM also got the move done on McLaren. Obviously, this all happened right as the people we've been watching all race. Right as the people we've been watching all race pass each other. So thanks for that, Reimer. No, I'm kidding. Rebel, though, is now on the back of Reimer here right now. Let's see how Reimer defends here. Because I'm curious if he's maybe coming in and out of pausing the game now. We did see Fogarana make the pass. I'm sorry. I'm going to blame the sickness for any lack of judgment I have right now. Or memory. I'm working from home tomorrow. Yippee! We did see Fogarana make the pass, you're right. It was into turn 8, coming into turn 9. You're right, you're right. It's coming back. So much action, my brain gets filled up. Rebel's sitting comfortable behind the Ferrari right now. Reimer is now 7 seconds behind David Shahud right now. This will be a pretty uncomfortable moment for the Ferrari team in the Constructors' Championship right now. This may even give... This will allow the VCARB team and the Mercedes team to close the gap to, I believe, sub 15 or 10 each, actually. So a super, super big moment here. Kind of unfortunate. Doesn't seem like Rebel's shaping up for a move just yet right now. Sitting comfortable behind the red of the Ferrari here right now. That was a lot of action. It's always the high stakes actions and then immediately just back to watching the cars is always such a jarring effect. It doesn't look like anybody's gonna stop again. I'm very surprised considering the high degradation of this track. I would think that maybe a 2-stop could be worth it, but I thought wrong. Rebel's still sitting very comfortably behind the Ferrari right now. Let's jump on board to listen to the car a little. Took a little bit of grass there on turn 14. Ladies and gentlemen, JM 624 and the other VCARB has managed to close the gap quite comfortably here to IUF1 William now. MSA Samad sitting right behind the Mercedes of Mudev here. It looks like we're going to be seeing another Kemmel straight pass. These guys have been going back and forth all race. It's very clear that these experienced drivers are just utilizing the DRS zone comfortably and trying to mitigate any possible risk to their own vehicles. Mudev defending the middle now, moving into the inside. JM, or MSA Samad, excuse me, trying to go for an inside. Very late break there by Mudev. Phenomenal defensive maneuver there from Mudev, managing to hold on to first place. We're going to have to see if MSA Samad decides to go for a turn 8 dive, and no. MSA Samad does decide to back out, and Mudev will be holding on to the position. Money, ladies and gentlemen, gets a pass here done on Despy, moving up into 10th position, our current fast lap holder. Fogarana, or JM, excuse me, gets a pass done on IUF1 William, coming out of the Kemmel straight, a very by-the-book pass. Despy and Money fighting here. Trying to get into the top 10 right now. Mini B-Man unfortunately did get a 3-second time penalty for excessive track limits. That will be a little unfortunate. Rebel very close to the back of this Ferrari. Still hasn't made a move yet, interestingly enough. We're seeing a lot of patience from a lot of these drivers, which I guess is a good thing. We wouldn't want anybody getting severely damaged trying to go for an overtake attempt, obviously. David Shahud, ladies and gentlemen, is now coming into the mix here between both of these drivers. If MSA Samad and Mudev keep fighting the way they've been having, they may open the door for David Shahud to stick a nose in there. We're gonna have to see what occurs here, as we're now watching Money go for an outside pass coming up into turn 16. Very, very pretty maneuver that we jumped right back into to watch right there. Late break here from Despy. Early break for Money maybe even. And Money misses out on the position here, falling back into 11th now. You think David gets top 2? We'll have to see. MSA Samad gets a pass done here on Mudev. David Shahud is almost now within a second of both of these guys. MSA Samad actually gets the pass done going into turn 8. Very, very pretty move to do there. IUF1 William and JM fighting. IUF1 William taking advantage of the DRS, moving back up into 7th position. We're going to have to see how that works out in our final lap. David Shahud, ladies and gentlemen, is now within a second of the top 2 drivers here. Money and Despy still going at it. Despy getting overtaken going into Lacombs here, coming out of turn 7 into turn 8. Despy is not close enough to make a pass. Crazy drive from David, I agree. Focoena unfortunately gets a 3-second time penalty, and that could be a big moment there. IUF1 William may just be able to sit pretty behind him, assuming JM doesn't slow him down too much. Oh, excuse me, guys. We're saying a lot. This is the last lap. This is going to be the last lap. This is going to be a last lap fight right here. This is going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Ladies and gentlemen, I think everybody is going to be waiting for the Kemmel straight now. We're going to be watching Rebel, I believe, do a pass here as well. We actually may not be seeing anything in the top 2 here. You think so? I think JM and William are just clean enough, I think, to like to stay in it. We're gonna have to see what happens here. Doesn't look like we're watching any overtakes happen right now, actually. I think the wheels on many of these cars must be quite worn right now. JM, looks like JM is looking for an inside dive into turn 5, decides to back out of it, unfortunately. Was not quite close enough to make a move there. We're going to have to see if maybe JM decides to go for a turn 8 dive instead. No, a little too far, unfortunately. And Despy not quite close enough to make a move on Money either. Mahmudev gets a 3-second time penalty coming into Sector 3. A huge moment right now as David Shahud will be able to get... JM gets a 3-second time penalty now. Everybody is deciding, oh my goodness. And Mini Beeman gets the fastest lap of 144.636. A great drive. Unfortunately, it seems like everybody decided to stop being a clean driver by the end here. And ladies and gentlemen, your winner for the Belgian Grand Prix, MSA Samad, followed by David Shahud and Mahmudev. Closely behind Reimer and Rebel here. Focoena with a 3-second time penalty, not quite close enough or far enough to get away from IUF1 Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, IUF1 William will be finishing ahead of Focoena here. Holy throws, 100% agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, followed by IUF1 William, Focoena, Gunner, and JM. We have Money here coming up next, followed closely behind by Despy and the Red Bull. Papatism coming up here onto turn 16. Top 10 for Money. I agree. Huge moment. Congratulations to Money on that one. Great drive from everybody. Huge throws. Huge throws from a lot of people. Last 2 laps, and we saw the most excessive track limits we've seen all race. Big moment for a lot of these drivers. Papatism crosses the line in the 12th position, followed by Grumpy Dad. And ladies and gentlemen, our fast lap holder, Mini B-Man 95 in the Williams driver here. In the Williams driver. Coming up onto the bus stop, a great drive here from Mini B-Man, managing to get the last final fast lap in and getting the extra point. A great drive from absolutely everybody. I hope you guys had a blast watching me here. If you are sticking around, I'll be jumping shortly to the calendar for anybody who may be interested in our schedule. But I always do like showing the proper respect for our podium holders, and we'll be watching our top 3 dance. So phenomenal race. We saw a lot of action. Very unfortunate for Rebel at the start of the race. Great overtakes from a lot of these guys. Foco Enna's pass on IUF1 William on turn 8. Foco, I think, was it Foco Enna? Hold on. Not turn 8. There was another one I'm thinking of. There was an outside swing, though, by somebody on the turn 17, and I know it was done on IUF1 William. It might have been Money. It might have been Foco Enna again, but somebody did a great turn 17 pass. As we now watch MSA Samad, ladies and gentlemen, hit a little pose real quick for us. Phenomenal drive. Huge congratulations to these guys. Big drive as well from David Shahud here in the Haas. He's our first Haas podium driver of the season so far, second place. And then followed by Mahmudev, who got a 3-second time penalty coming into turn 14 and finished third position, unfortunately. Nonetheless, a phenomenal drive for Mudev after missing 2 races and obviously coming back from the winter break. Great drive from all of these guys. I had a fantastic time watching it. I hope you guys had a great time watching it. I will be jumping over to our season calendar now, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you join me here today, my name is Wild Hero. I will have been your commentator this race today. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. I do apologize for being sick, but to see you guys off here is our schedule. We will be racing in Brazil next week, followed by a quick break where we will then have a sprint race in Suzuka and then a 2x point event in Qatar. Following that is the Monza Dutch and Austria sprint, which will be deciding our final champion. And I hope you guys have had a great time this season. I know I've enjoyed this season an unreal amount. This was a phenomenal race. It might be one of the top 3 races for me this season. But if you guys have any questions, please drop it in the chat. I will do my best to answer anything. And if not, I guess I'll be jumping over to the end screen here. Thank you guys very much for joining me. This is Purple Sector F1 Racing, and I will see you guys next week.